What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the Aurelius Monologues. I am Karma Aurelius. As always, please be sure to hit the like button for me. Be sure, if you're not a subscriber, to subscribe. I've got a lot of new material that's going to be rolling out onto YouTube in the next couple of weeks. Also, if you're on Facebook, check out my page, the Aurelius Monologues. For my second episode, I wanted to do a quick follow-up to the first. First off, thank you to everybody that gave me the positive support and feedback from the first video. I think we're close to 400 clicks and views or so on the first YouTube video. We've grown the Facebook page as of this afternoon to almost 200, and considering that it was less than half of that 2 days before, that's not bad. You tell me the company in America that wouldn't be willing to say, do you want to double your business in 24 hours? And if they tell you that they would not, they're crazy. So again, thank you to everybody for the positive support. Thank you for the views. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for helping me get the message out there to other people. In the first episode, the first video that I did a couple of days ago, I spoke just my truth, if you want to call it that, about my observations about the coronavirus. I spoke about just the panic-driven behavior that we were seeing out of a lot of people, the false information that was getting fed to us by a lot of people, etc. And, you know, we've had a few days to process and get further into our new reality. And by the way, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're please adhering as best you can towards the quarantine and towards just doing whatever you can to keep yourself, your family, your loved ones safe. I know everybody's pretty bored right now. We're all stuck in the house. If you're on social media, I'm sure you're seeing it from everybody, man. What a brave new world we have found ourselves in from just a week or two ago to where we are now. What I wanted to talk about, though, on this video was that a friend of me were discussing yesterday about where do we go from here? What sorts of structural change, systematic change are we going to see in American society, not only with what's going on right now, but where we're going to go once the crisis is over. This should be a little bit of a quicker video than some of my other ones, but I just wanted to hit on a couple of points. I've been asking myself, what don't we need anymore? And what I mean by that is coronavirus has really laid bare a few things for us. It's exposed some of the weaknesses in our system in terms of our manufacturing capability, our ability to make medical devices, to make medicine, the idea that we're a lot more dependent on China than I guess maybe we realized, and not to state the obvious on that one, but if you're gonna give anybody some credit on that one, definitely thank Donald Trump. He was way ahead of the curve. He was telling us a long time ago that we needed to take China a lot more seriously, and we needed to view them through a completely different lens than what we had at that point. He looks pretty smart today, doesn't he? My bigger point, though, I'm going to hit on a few categories here, and I'll recap them really quickly for you. I want to talk about the media. I want to talk about Hollywood. I want to talk about academia. The funny thing about the three categories that I just listed out, what do all three of them have in common? Well, anybody that knows anything knows that all three of these professions are heavily liberal dominated by their own admission. I mean, I think it's something, 90%, and I might be painting with a broad stroke there in terms of journalists that identify as Democrats, professors that identify as Democrats, and Hollywood elitists and actors that identify as Democrats. And I'll take them kind of a bit at a time here. Again, what I am saying is, what don't we need going forward? And this is what we don't need. When it comes to the media, I touched on this very heavily in the first video about the idea that the people that are feeding you the information are feeding off of your fear. The media, it suits their purposes for all of us to be freaked out right now, to be glued to the television. That's ratings for them. So my advice in the first video, and I still stick with it, is that obviously get your updates and know what's going on, but turn the TV off. You'll feel a lot better, I promise, to drown out their noise and their fear mongering for just a second. And just like I said in the first video, I don't pretend that coronavirus isn't serious, but relative to how many people die in this country from heart disease, suicide, etc., from the regular flu, there is an argument to be made that maybe we've blown this a little bit out of proportion, but again, that's not the purpose of this video. I'm incredibly proud of Donald Trump and the way that not only his leadership and his flexibility, his ability to cut through the red tape, to think outside of the box, to advance forward what needs to get done. I mean, he said in a press conference the other day that he considers himself at this point a wartime president, and if you remember in the first video, I alluded to this very heavily, that I feel like, there's some serious parallels that we could draw from the World War II generation to where we are right now, in terms of sacrifice, in terms of coming together to push through these common barriers that we have so that the society can continue on and can thrive. Donald Trump has been doing an amazing job. I will also do a quick aside for anybody that's excited about the money that he's freeing up right now in terms of stimulus, and not to be a total smartass when I say this, but seriously, if he's not your president, maybe you shouldn't cash the check. Think about that for a minute before you take that $1,000, $2,000, whatever it's going to wind up being payout. Think hard about who you're going to pull the lever for in November. Think about for a minute the idea that magically within 24 to 48 hours, the Democrats have completely fallen in line and all of a sudden Donald doesn't seem so stupid. Why is that? It's because he's acting the opposite of a typical Republican right now. He's freeing up taxpayer dollars to redistribute that wealth to the people. If the Democrats start howling and saying, no, you can't do that, their entire platform goes away overnight, because they're built on giving away taxpayer money for every pet project that they can come up with. I would say checkmate in terms of what Donald Trump just managed to do with all of that. If you thought that his re-election wasn't signed, sealed, and delivered before all of this, I would say the American people are incredibly impressed with him. His numbers are going up in terms of his approval on the handling, and his just general approval numbers continue to climb, and they should, because he's doing a good job. On my Facebook page, and again, if you have Facebook, check out the Aurelius monologues. I've shared multiple videos over the last couple of days of Donald Trump just taking the fake news media to behind the gym, basically, to quote Joe Biden on something. I mean, he has been beating them like they stole something from him, and they deserve every bit of it. What I want y'all to think about when I say what don't we need going forward, we don't need a media that treats us like we're idiots, that encourages the kind of panic-driven behavior that they've been propagating and pushing onto us right now. And that's, if you saw Trump's press conference today, I think that reporter was from NBC, perfect. Absolutely perfect, the way that he broke that down and explained to him, what would I say to the American people? I'd tell them that you're a terrible reporter, and I'd tell them that your platform and your company is garbage. It's fake news. We should be thinking very hard right now going forward about where do we want to get our news from. If our media is willing to roll over and do China's bidding on something as stupid as trying to make Trump out to be some kind of a racist because he closes the borders, because he shuts down travel, because he points out accurately that the virus did come, as he would say, from China. It was made in China. Think about the people that are supposed to be reporting the news, and this is what they're concerned about. Do any of you care? Are any of you sitting at home right now thinking, "Oh my goodness, the poor Chinese and all of this, it's going to be racist. We're going to No. We're not concerned about that because it doesn't matter." The second group that I wanted to talk about was academia. I saw yesterday that Stanford University is outright refusing to refund money to students for dormitory and for other things that they've paid for. All of these colleges are in a position where they're telling the students that you don't get any kind of refund for the money that you're sinking into us, but we're going to give you the same education that you would get on the campus, but we're going to do it to you remote. Does that not beg the question then that maybe we don't need the college campuses, and for sure they don't need our endowments and our money? If ever you needed proof positive that they only care about their bottom line and about their pocketbook, this behavior should show you. They aren't even willing to admit that, yeah, we owe that money back, because it's never been about educating. It's about indoctrination, and it's about profit for them. They don't care. We should be taking a really hard look at the idea that if seriously you don't need the kids there, and same thing in the first, I'm sorry to call them kids, but they're younger than me. If you don't need them physically there on the campus, what exactly is it that we're paying for if we can do distance education? I sincerely hope that we revalue the value of what an education should be at this point, along with a lot of other things. And then the third one that I wanted to hit on, when I say what else don't we need going forward, we don't need Hollywood celebrities telling us what to think and how to feel. There was a whole storm that kicked up yesterday on the internet because a bunch of these Hollywood celebrities got together on some sort of a live stream to sing John Lennon's Imagine together. Of all people, Larry the Cable Guy, the comedian, is the one that's taken them to task right now over it. But my bigger point is that their opinion doesn't matter. It never mattered. I'm not one of those people that's going to say, shut up and dribble or just shut up and act. If you've got something relevant to say, I'm willing to listen. But you being an actor and a celebrity does not automatically make you an expert on anything. If anything, the tone deafness of that video, while there are homeless right outside their buildings that are still exposed to the quarantine, should show you how out of touch these people are. The idea that people that could never go to work another day in their life and their kids would be set are not in a position to be telling the American people who are living paycheck to paycheck that this whole thing is that we're going to make it through it, or that somehow it's Trump's fault. Take a step further back, as far as Hollywood and the elitists go, who cares what they think? The best thing I've seen come out of Hollywood was that award show that Ricky Gervais got on there and took them all to task. He told them to their face, I think for the first time some of them had ever heard this, that nobody cares what you think. Nobody is interested in your opinions on the president. Nobody is interested on your prescriptions for the world. Especially, we're not interested in getting lectures on morals and values from a pack of pedophiles and rapists. To me, that's the real irony of the Me Too movement, is that it turns out that the people that were screaming the loudest at the beginning are the same ones that enabled the casting couch. They were the ones that were friends with Harvey Weinstein. They were the ones that rubbed elbows with Jeffrey Epstein. That whole incestuous thing, it's all tied together. Do you see what I'm getting at here? That maybe to the hyper-partisan liberals, to the elitists, just shut up and go away. Be thankful that we waste our money on your movies and on your nonsense to begin with, and leave it at that. But the idea that you're going to lecture us on anything is just unacceptable to me. Again, pedophiles and rapists. That's all you need to say about what caliber of people you're taking your morality advice from at this point. They tell us, don't pollute the earth and that we're going to burn the whole thing down, but they roll around on yachts and on private jets. I mean, who are they kidding? All I'm trying to say is that if you're putting a report card down on how things have been going for a while, and whether we're talking coronavirus, whether we're talking about just the state of the state in terms of the news before coronavirus dominated everything, the liberals are not serving us well in this country right now. They've spent 3 years bitching and obstructing and resisting and impeaching and investigating. And for what? The man is still your president. Nothing has changed. We like you less than we did before. My point is that I feel like liberalism needs a serious, if you want to call it a come to Jesus moment on a couple of things, and they really need to rethink about their platform and their package and what they're selling to us, and about the idea, do we need any of it? And my argument is no, we don't. We don't need the fake news media telling us how to live. We do not need a bunch of Marxist professors and academic institutions robbing us blind for an education, and we don't need the Hollywood elite lecturing us on something that they themselves do not adhere to and do not understand. And so again, I apologize if I'm coming across as a little more intense on this one, but if you can't tell, I don't like the media, I don't like academia, I don't like Hollywood. And I do not think by any stretch that I am alone in that assessment as far as towards all of that. And so again, all I'm saying is that during this lockdown and during the quarantine, let's have a serious discussion about what we spend our money on, who we listen to, how we live our lives, and I think that we would be a lot better off because of it. If you're still watching on this one, thank you so much. There are at least 2 more episodes that are going to be rolling out today, and then many, many more in the coming weeks. So be sure, again, to please hit the like, hit the subscribe, share, and tell a friend. If you're on Facebook, make sure to check out my page, The Aurelius Monologues. Thank you all so much, and please have a good rest of your day.